Day 682 on our project, our journey, our adventure, our journey of discovery. Discovering how long it takes to do this. Today we are continuing to work on our shock tower support braces that we have designed, cut, and are currently fabricating for the outside sections of the shock tower assemblies for our 1965 Mustang GT Convertible. So at this stage, we have done some prep work on the shock towers, which we'll show you in a second, and got some decisions to make about how we're going to proceed. So let's grab one of the shock towers as an entire complete fender assembly. Oh, it's heavy. Okay. I forgot how heavy this was. Let's see. What's the easiest way to do this? Easy would be none ways, 0 ways to do this easy. Okay. So what we have here is we have the shock tower where the upper control arm is going to float up and down and the lower control arm is going to float up and down. And the mounting points that we've modified from the stock Ford location in 1964, 1965 to the corrected location discovered by one of the engineers at Shelby as being important to correct some of the inherent errors in the geometry of the front wheels. So in this black area, we have done seam sealer for the areas that will not be available for us to actually seal afterwards. We've added some rust prevention in those areas, and we've masked off so that the areas that we're going to be welding in are not covered with rust prevention. So at this point, we have a decision to make. And the decision is that there are 2 ways to do this plate. One of them is to go from this bottom lip in here, where the bend in the frame rail exists, up to this location. The other option is to go over top of this edge of the frame rail here to that location. Now, the biggest concern is going to be clearance of that upper control arm and making sure that this plate does not interfere with its ability to move up and down. So let's grab our plate template, and let's grab an upper control arm and just put that in there and see if we're going to have any issues. So let's start with the cardboard first, just because it's the easiest to kind of push into that cavity. And so we have our cardboard template. If we go down to the edge, it goes right about here. And the upper control arm goes in this location here. And the reason it's important to check this is because when you change the factory location to this other location, you're putting this edge of the control arm much closer to where that plate goes than originally. So now when I start pushing down on this, it's almost touching the cardboard on this side. Not so much on this side, but definitely on this side is going to be some type of potential clearance issue if we don't make sure that this is pushed all the way down and away from the control arm. We also want to make sure that we don't have a weld bead right where that control arm is pivoting, which again will create some clearance issues for that part of the control arm movement. So what we need to do is we need to alter our design on this side to make sure that it is lower than where it is, to ensure that we don't have any issues with clearance on this side. I think this side's fine. I see at least 1/8 of an inch between the control arm and the top of where the top of where the plate is. This is the side that's going to be the most concerning. All right, so let's, okay, you can come back out anytime. Ow, got me on the fingers. Okay, okay. Okay, so that was a good, important test fit. And as you're doing this stuff, you simply want to just take your time, go step by step, and make sure that you aren't running into an issue. So we probably need to trim back this part of this plate, or at a minimum, yeah, I think the easiest thing to do is to trim it back. This side should be fine. So now let's take a look at our actual plate template that we've been working on and see how that's progressing in this shape. Okay, so this one I originally had started working on as being over top. Let me check the other one. Walking around, walking around, walking around, walking around. This one has not been smoothed out yet. So we got a lot of work to do on these templates. We're going to be moving this down. We got obviously some of this that has to come out. So for me personally, I think I probably am going to do the version that goes down into the gap, just because it alleviates any possibility of there being any clearance issues on the top here. This is not very thin. This is not very thick, so it'll allow me to have some light welding to get it in place. So what it looks like I need to do is, it looks like I'm going to need to trim. Let's see. Trim up in here, obviously. Gonna have to trim some of that out. We're gonna pull some of this back, because we already talked about that. And let's anticipate that we have to trim out some of this in here, and bend this back and bend that back. And let's see what happens when we cut that part out to the shape, allowing it to move over and down, allowing it to move over and down. And then slide down in there. So that's what we're going to work on first, is adjusting this piece where we drew this out, cut that off, refit it, and see where we're at. So the easiest way to do this, I guess, would be to put this frame rail over here on the floor assembly, so that we don't have to keep moving it back and forth. Let's grab a towel or a blanket. So we can set that on there without wrecking any of the work that we did yesterday. Oh, we got this guy too. This drop cloth will work good. And then we'll set this guy over here. Ooh, ah. And that way we can have the piece close, we can do our cutting and keep testing until we get it right. Today we're going to use a Type 27 grinding wheel from Benchmark Abrasives, 4.5 inch, because we're going to be basically reducing shape on the outside of this edge. So that would be the most efficient way to do that. If we were actually cutting pieces off, we might want to use a cutting wheel. But since we're reducing shape, I think we'll be fine with this grinding wheel. Okay, make sure we put that on there, and put that on there. Let's spin this around so that we can lock the piece in our vise. Yep. And let's see, we were going to cut this down, we're going to cut this down. So let's start with this top edge. I know it's a tiny little, cheap little vise, but it's what I got. Use what you got. Okay. Got the garage halfway down so it doesn't make too much noise for the neighbors. Let's actually see if we can just go ahead and put this all the way down. And let's put the other garage door down to reduce the noise as much as possible. Not be rude. All right, so we are working off of this edge, working off of this edge, and then working back off of here. And we can kind of smooth this out a little bit just to make it nicer and cleaner. So here we go. Let's see what happens. What could go wrong? All right. All right, so let's work on this other part on the other side. Okay, why are you being so difficult today? And now we're gonna cut this part off. See what's gonna be the easiest way to do that. This way? Yeah, let's try this. Let's try it this way. What could go wrong? So let's see how that, okay. Let's see how those modifications have helped us with our fit. Okay, so now it can definitely fit down inside. Okay, it's still tight on the edges here. Let's see, okay, so okay, it's not letting me push. If I put the end in here, it's not letting me push down. There. So that something seems weird here. Why is that looking like that? What's the other one out? Maybe I have this backwards. No, I do. Okay, so it is backwards. Okay, so interesting. All right, so this actually goes in this way. So I need to take a little more off here and a little more off here to start getting it down in there. And let's bend these out straight because I had bent them before. Let's kind of bring those bends back to center. I know you're not supposed to do this. Okay, so we're going to take a little bit off of here and a little bit off of here to try to get this back. You know, it probably would be smart is if I mark this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is first trying to figure out where the heck my marker went. So this is the passenger side, and that's the front. Passenger side, pass, front. Now we're not getting confused. Love it. Perfectly not confusing. Okay, so we're trying to actually fit this in this way. And we have it super tight on the edges, super tight on the edges. So we're going to take off some here and take off some here to see if we can get it down. Down, 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 down. Okay. Trouble with the ear things. Okay. Modification number 242. Okay. Let's see how that goes. Okay. Coming around. We're coming around. Ooh, that's not bad. Okay, so if we push this down in here. Ugh. So now we're running into a clearance issue here. On this side. Right? Yeah. Now let's take a little bit off of this side first. And see how that gets us. Better. Better. Still got a little high point up here. Maybe we can just hold this. Yeah. Slowly but surely. Slowly but surely. We're making progress. Okay, so still a little push over here on this edge. Let's go a little more. Yeah, making progress now. Okay, so I'm trying to make sure this edge is flush. And it's just, you know, it's a little bit, just kind of, you're basically just creeping up on it, on the fit and finish. Until you get it just about where you want it. Getting there. Getting there, getting there. Seems like it's sometimes not doing anything, but it certainly is. That's certainly. Let's go a little more. It's very close now. Very close. Yep. Dangerous. Dangerous! Okay, that's what we got. Now this side, because that's flat. What I'm seeing is this is flat, and I'm pretty sure that this is flat against it. And this is up against that, so that's flat. So now we have to take a little bit off of this edge and see if we can't slide this forward a little bit. Maybe we can bring this forward a little to get closer to the edge. Yeah, that's a lot better. There's still a gap there, but not nearly as much as the other. Okay, let's take this edge off here. Maybe we can get it even closer. Yeah, that looks good. So I got it all the way up in here. There's a little bit bigger gap than I really wanted right there, but that's fine. So now what we're gonna do is we have to bring this down kind of in the middle here. Let's see if we can coax this. Coax. And a little bit of a formation there. That's better. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's much better. And we'll start bringing this down because it moved away from the front when we bent that. So let's take this part out here, up in here, so we can get it back to go forward and bring it down a little bit. So, making progress. That took some off the inside here, which will allow this to go forward and maybe get us flatter. Yeah, that looks really good now. Looks really good now. So I think we're going to take some more of this curve off here. Just to get it to sink down a little bit more. Just to be safe because of that clearance concern we had earlier. It's definitely a lot better. We could take some more off. Get it even flatter. Yeah, it definitely brought it way down in the valley. On the valley of sunshine. Let's bend it back a little bit more straight. We're getting some deflection. Let's take some more off of here. I feel like we might be still. It's definitely better. Pull some off of this corner. Oh, that was much better. Well, that's almost... Okay, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? What's going on with you? Crazy death wheel. Okay, so this is almost... On the back side here, this is almost perfect. Got a little bow in the center. Bigger gap in the front now. Just fits right down in there pretty nice. Okay. Pretty good with that. But we're getting a little bit of this action. I need to take down this corner some more. Okay, so let's do Let's do the control arm again with the actual steel plate and see if we're running into any issues, because that's going to be the most important thing. We're putting the control arm back in place. And it looks like, yeah, it looks like we've got pretty good clearance in the back. That's tacked down, that's not going to hit. That's certainly not going to hit. Yeah, we're good. We're good, we're good, we're good. We're good. We're doing good. Making progress. Making things happen. Now, let's be interesting to see how close this is on the other side. If so, we can make a copy of this template. I'm going to set this down on the ground. Passenger front, tender front, let's see. Yeah. It's close, but it's not going to be exact. Well, maybe because it's bent the other way. So let's make a copy of this onto the other piece of steel that we had, which is, okay, so this one looks good. We're going to transfer this one to the other raw template that we had at the beginning, because it looked like it was about the right shape for the other side, obviously in reverse. So now we've transferred this piece to the other piece that we have to actually cut out for the other side. So also, now that we know that this is going to be our final shape, I now have a whole section over here that's got rust preventer on it, which I'm going to have to weld in, so I got to get that back out of there. Also, I need to do rust prevention on the back side, which is going to be underneath, so this has to get painted. So let's clean this edge up, paint the back side, set that aside, and then start cleaning up this in here in order to get that prepped and ready to accept this plate. Yeah, that's what we need to do. Oh, boy, that's a very different sound without ear protection. Yeek. I don't like that guy. Come on now. Are we in? Good. Okay. Cleaning up the edge. Okay. And just use this box over here. Weld through primer on the edges. Rust reformer on the rest. That's pretty stinky. Okay. And now we have to get this off of here. Let us use let us go to our trusty handy dandy drill with a wire brush attachment. Let's see if this will work. Oh yeah, it came right off.